Assalamu alaikum. I'm just going to look for my microphone a second. There we go. Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. We'll just wait a minute for some more people to arrive. Wa alaikum assalam, Omar. How you doing, man? I'm just going to plug my mic in a second, so bear with me. Omar, stay with me just for a minute, just to check that my sound's working, because sometimes when I plug myself in... what's up, chicken dinner? Hello, mate. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome, those of you who are joining. Just micing myself up. There we go. Yeah, alhamdulillah, very well, thank you, bro. Very well, thank you, alhamdulillah. Okay. Okay, listen for a second, because I'm just going to plug my mic in. And, okay, so here we go. Okay, can you hear me? Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. Cool. Cool. Can you guys hear my son, by the way? Yeah, it's my little boy. It's my little boy outside. Actually, the lighting's alright, actually, isn't it? But yeah, you can probably hear my son. I've had an awesome day with him. I took him out for ice cream earlier. I think he's upset that I'm doing something else. Do you want to meet him? Should I bring him in? Cool. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Cool, so in just a second, I might change the lighting actually. Wa alaikum assalam, Waqas. Wa alaikum assalam. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take you guys off my tripod a second. Can you speak Fusha? Yeah, his Fusha is pretty good. Okay, I'm going to bring you under here. Okay. By the way, this is where the magic happens. This is the studio. You know, I'm going to put this light on now. I'm going to turn off this big horrible yellow light. So, okay. Yeah, this is the humble beginnings, where it all happens. Alhamdulillah. Cool. Okay, we're good. There we go, and we're back. So how are you guys today? Sorry about that little disruption. How are you guys today? Cool, so without further ado, let's... Mohammed, how you doing, man? I will come on to your questions, inshallah. Do you know what? Do you know what? I'm gonna talk briefly about the Arabist Digest, this week's edition. We'll talk briefly about that, but I think there might be more questions this week about the Arabic in 60 Steps program and the relaunch of 2.0, and the early bird discount as well. It's obviously important too, for all of the early birds who want to come onto the program, inshallah. So. Do you know what? Let me get it up actually in front of me so that I remember the sorts of things that I said. But in this week's edition, I really just wanted to write a little bit about the differences between kind of a classical approach to learning Arabic and like an academic one, because there is like a real kind of dichotomy. There is like a real, either you learn in a classical way or you learn in an academic way. And there's kind of like a Western sort of non-Muslim tradition of learning Arabic that kind of tries to squeeze Arabic into the way that we learn other modern foreign languages. And then there's like a classical approach, which isn't really about, which doesn't, its main goal isn't really for you to speak Arabic. Its main goal is for you to acquire a deeper connection with scripture. Really, that's its main objective. So let me have a little look at what I actually wrote. Have you guys heard of that, by the way? Have you heard of people kind of saying that they learn Arabic in like a classical way or in like an academic way? Have you kind of heard that before? Yeah. Okay, cool. Um, so obviously, um, you would think that, like, I went to a Western university, right? Um, I went to a Western university, and I obviously studied Arabic in a Western academic environment, right? Like, I went to a university called SOAS here in the UK, stands for School of Oriental and African Studies, and it is like initially it was opened to kind of teach white people to speak languages of the indigenous savages of Africa and Asia, so that white people could go out there and civilize them. That was sort of the main objective in the beginning of SOAS. But now, my experience obviously wasn't really like that, although it is taught in like a very kind of Western, academic way. Like, the focus isn't really on giving you like a scientific approach to kind of finding deeper meanings within scripture. That isn't really what we're taught for. We're taught for socio-political reasons. We're taught essentially to better read newspapers and talk about current affairs. That's what SOAS is most interested in. But even though I went to an institute like that, during my time there, I read Al-Ajurumiyya, I read Alfiyya bin Malik, and I even sat at the feet of some graduates from the Islamic University of Medina and Al-Azhar. I really had like a really blended learning experience, and that's why in this week's Arabist Digest, I kind of conclude that, really it's not helpful anymore to even talk about it in terms of like a classical approach and an academic approach. That isn't even helpful anymore, because the sort of what students have come to expect from learning Arabic isn't either a classical approach, which will give you like a scientific methodology of understanding what is truly being said and meant in the Arabic language in scripture. And a lot of students don't just want that. A lot of students don't just want to be able to rock up in an Arabic country and speak a language. In like the classical approach to teaching languages, you would never learn Aramiyya. There's no point in learning Aramiyya from like a classical background. But in the background that I had, we had specific lessons for specifically Egyptian Aramiyya, and specifically like Shermi dialect, and specifically Gulf dialect. We had lessons specifically for that. And you would get that in an academic canon, because the point of an academic approach is to treat it like a modern foreign language. But I think in my experience, a lot of the time students' expectations of the Arabic language comes from expectations that they've acquired from learning other languages. I think, like, I've obviously experienced a lot, especially when I've taught children in the past, that when children go to school and they learn Spanish or French or something, when they learn Spanish or French or something, and then they come to learn Arabic, it's very different to their previous language learning experiences. In the past, they've probably, to learn Spanish, regardless of where your teacher's from or what era you're learning Spanish in, the objective is to speak Spanish, and Spanish is Spanish for the majority of Spanish in most Spanish countries, with the exception of like a few dialect differences, right? Well, sometimes quite significant dialect differences, but there's never like a discussion of like learning like Spanish for classical purposes and Spanish for academic purposes. There's never that debate. Do you know what I mean? So when you come into learning Arabic and students have to deal with terms like modern standard Arabic, classical Arabic, modern Arabic, literary Arabic, Fusha, Amiyya, Daraja, whatever other dialects, right? So that's really tough, right? But I kind of just end the piece on saying that it does seem like most of the curriculums that are being written in the West for Westerners, like like Arabic with Husna, Nu'man Ali Khan's program, and obviously my program as well, and others as well. They seem to quite clearly be taking like a blended approach, which inshallah will satisfy our Western Arabic students who for whatever reason come into learning Arabic expecting something that you can't provide as easy in Arabic as you can with other languages. Like if you've experienced learning French, and at school you learn French for French and it can be applied for all French. If you have that expectation for Arabic, that's going to be a really, really sharp learning curve for you. because Arabic is just so vast. Do you know what I mean? Like when you're learning modern foreign languages, you're not dealing with a language that is spoken by so many speakers and has been for so long. You know, um, this is a big issue that I take with the GCSE. By the way, a brother mentioned it in the comments just a second ago. An issue that I take with the GCSE is that like Arabic is harder to teach and is a broader subject than other modern foreign languages. So trying to squeeze Arabic into a modern foreign languages kind of syllabus, I think is a big mistake, and students end up with a lot of gaps in their knowledge because of that. And that's a big criticism that I have. I think if they're going to insist on running a program, and if they were actually going to do it properly and actually care enough about their students, I would perhaps suggest that they do Arabic as a modern foreign language, and they do Arabic as an ancient language or something like that. Because I think they do that with Hebrew. I think they do modern Hebrew GCSE, and I think they do like biblical Hebrew GCSE as well. And I would suggest they do something like that. Because at the moment it's kind of a hodgepodge course and doesn't really serve either. Yeah, I've had a look at the exams for the new grading system from 1 to 9, and yeah, it's harder. It's way harder. I was an examiner for the oral exams a couple of years ago in Cornwall, and the exams weren't anywhere near as difficult as what they are now, unfortunately. That's all I'm going to say about the Arabist Digest. We will try to do as many questions as possible, inshallah, and hopefully at some point, if it does come up, I will mention some things about Arabic in 60 Steps 2.0, which I am absolutely pumped about, because I think it might be the best thing I've ever done in my life. So yeah, let's have a look. Let's see what you guys have been saying. So, wa alaikum assalam, Iqbal. How are you this evening? Have you ever thought of being a dairy? Yes, but it's just not really my thing. To be honest, I used to be really into it. Like I used to be really into like doing dawah to the non-Muslims and like debating with Christians and stuff like that. And I think sometimes reverts kind of are expected to kind of do that and be interested in that. But I don't know, just to be honest, I really just don't have the patience for it anymore. Like sometimes just when I'm working and stuff, I'll see a video up on YouTube of like an Ali Dawah or like a Muhammad Hijab video, and like they'll be debating with like some EDL people, and I'll listen to it and I just lose patience with it. Like it just infuriates me so much how some people will just lack basic reasoning skills, and so I'm just not cut out for it. I'm cut out to unpack the Arabic language for people living in the West. That's what I'm good at, and that's what I'm going to focus on. Yeah, obviously there is a role for dawah within my capacity, obviously to my family and stuff like that. But Q&A marathon, yeah, we're gonna be in for a big one this evening. Our brother Muhammad is rocked up. Muhammad's always got deep questions. Sometimes he exposes me. But welcome, obviously. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Mohammed. Yeah, but absolutely right. Students for themselves, they should figure out what they want from Arabic. But it's really hard for students to do that, I think, when students kind of, because obviously students don't necessarily have the perspective that maybe you do. A lot of students, when they decide they want to learn Arabic, maybe they just don't really in the beginning have an idea of what Ammiya is and the sheer scope of it. And then what Fusha is and stuff. I know when I first started learning Arabic, the first thing that confused me was that I read a little dialogue and there was the expression Alhamdulillah in there, and the authors of the book had translated it as I'm fine, thanks. And that confused me forever. And yeah, that kind of ruined my experience for me. Wa alaikum assalam. Yes, there are resources that teach Egyptian dialect. There's like the PIMS method or whatever. I bought those ages ago. There is also a series that they actually teach in Egypt as well. I can't remember what they're called, but yeah, there are Egyptian dialect resources. Yeah, Kalimni. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Kalimni, that's the one. Yeah, Muhammad, thank you. Jazakallah khair for mentioning that, Muhammad. Okay, let's release the hounds, release the questions upon me, inshallah. We've got 45 minutes, and I'm going to pour a coffee. There we go. Right. First question. First question's in. Ahmed Adil, can you speak slowly? I can't understand you that much. I'm Egyptian. أنا آسف يا راجل. أنا بتكلم ببطء إن شاء الله. By teaching us to understand Arabic, won't that ultimately help us with da'wah? Yeah, of course, yeah. Can we use أصبح for becoming a Muslim? Yes. You can say أنا أصبحت مسلما, or you can say أنا أسلمت. You can say either. So yeah, you can say أصبح and you can say صرت as well. أصبحت and صرت pretty much mean the same thing. Yeah, they're both sisters of Kana as well. Yeah. Yeah, Ahmed, what do you think of my لهجة مصرية؟ احنا رايحين المسجد واحنا بنتكلم بالعربية. The exercises for the 4 and 5 root word lessons are hilarious. You know, sometimes in the translations, yeah, I don't know what you're referring to. I can't remember what I wrote in those at the moment, but yeah, there are some in there that are a bit funky. What fictions and non-fictions did you read during university? What, in Arabic or just in terms of kind of general, you know, general like knowledge? So in Arabic, it was yeah, it's mostly fiction really, because you know when you do straight Arabic like I did, you do novels and poetry and stuff like that. Yeah, so it's mostly fiction. Some classical works like ألف ليلة وليلة, obviously text like that, and كليلة ودمنة. You know, as well as more modern stuff. Like I've mentioned loads of times, like there's a Palestinian author called Ghassan Kanafani, and you know, I read a number of his novels as well. And then in terms of travel writings as well, I'm big into travel writings. That's obviously non-fiction, but yeah, the رحلة of Ibn Jubayr, رحلة Ibn Battuta, and رحلة Ibn Fadlan as well is really good. Ibn Fadlan, maybe I'll do a walkthrough of it. Ibn Fadlan was a traveler in like the 11th century or something, and he traveled from Iraq to, you know, what was modern day Russia, and he describes the people called the Rus, which are sort of believed to be what we consider Vikings. We call them Vikings from our perspective, but he refers to them as al-Rus, and he has like a whole chapter on the description of the Rus, and it's fascinating getting a look into like what Vikings were like in like the 9th, 10th century, and how they did trade with the Arabs and stuff, because there's just fascinating bit of history in there. You know, like the Arabs, yeah, that like we know even from like modern research that the Vikings, they absolutely loved gold dinars. Like the Arabs had these gold dinars, and the Vikings absolutely loved them. They couldn't get enough of them, these little gold coins. Like I don't know if they had a currency like that. And the Arabs really wanted like furs and stuff that the Vikings had. The Vikings would have like wolf and bear furs and stuff. And the Arabs loved that. And they had like a really, really good trade relationship. And there's even in his book, there's even accounts of like there are people who are like full-time interpreters. It's fascinating who can like interpret between that old Viking language and Arabic. Fascinating. Yeah, really fascinating. But yeah, so the Rihla Ibn Fadlan is one of my absolute favorite things. We have a notification from the. Oh no, we don't. I was going to say I've just received a notification from the 60 Steps program, but we haven't. It's a different thing. Um, yeah, Muhammad, inshallah, in book 4, we do some travel. We read some travel writings. We'll read a passage from Ibn Jubayr, and we'll also read a passage from Ibn Fadlan, inshallah, in book 4. That's being put in the program right now. So the name Muhammad does not always have tanween. Muhammadun, Muhammad is one of the few names that can take tanween, but it doesn't always. So for example, if you use this nida at the beginning, you say yeah. You don't say yeah Muhammadun. You say yeah Muhammadu, and you just use one dhamma at the end. That's one of the few times that that you will. I can't think of any other examples off the top of my head, but no, it won't always have tanween. Yeah, that's a nice question though. That is a cool question. You'll cover that in book 4 as well. Book 4 has that in. Yeah, nida is a interesting little bit of grammar really, because you hear it very early on in your journey, but you actually learn the grammar of it quite late. But generally it takes tanween, yeah, absolutely. If you're just to quote the name Muhammad, yeah, it is Muhammadun. And then whenever you express its case, it is, Muhammadin or Muhammadan. You will always express the tanween. It's just it's some very few exceptions where you don't. That's all. Yeah. What's the difference between ra'a, nadara, and basara? That's a really, really nice question as well. So ra'a is to see something. Nadara is specifically to look at something. You can see something without sort of actively be looking at it. I mean, you can ra'a something by accident, but you can't nadara something by accident. And then basara, as in someone having basira, is more to do with insight of it rather than just seeing it with your eyes. It's if you've seen the film Avatar, and then they say like, "I see you." That's a bit like basira. Do you know what I mean? It's not to do with seeing you with your eyes. It's like I see into you. I have insight about you. If you've seen the movie Avatar, it's a bit like that. Really nice question though. That's really nice. But yeah, there's very subtle differences. Yeah, ra'a, nadara, basara. How many students you've ever had in total? About 300 now, alhamdulillah. Yeah, I started teaching Arabic in 2015. So yeah, coming up to 4 years now, alhamdulillah. Yeah, but online students in the Arabic in 60 Steps program, there's about 120, I think, and that program's closed now. That program is closed. The original Arabic in 60 Steps is closed. Yeah, no more students can come onto that program, which is infuriating because I've still got 4 books left that I needed to give away, but students just didn't come on board. So if there are any students who really want to, then you can message me and we can talk about it. But as a rule, it's closed. There's a question. Do you have more Muslims in Cornwall now? Don't know. Don't know really. I don't really know about our numbers, to be honest. Like, we've got 1 mosque in the whole of Cornwall. And then on the Eid days, it's packed. There's like maybe 300 or 400 people. But then on Fridays, there's just, 100 people. I really don't know. I really don't know about the numbers or demographics or anything. Yeah. But I'll probably say, having grown up in Cornwall, I would say that even though Cornwall is probably the county in the country with the fewest percentage of Muslims, I would say Jumu'ah is better attended in Cornwall as a whole than Sunday services at church. Even though there's 1 mosque, I would say that there's a higher number of people who pray Jumu'ah than people who go to church on Sundays, I'd probably say. It wouldn't have been the case 50 years ago. Cornwall, they love their Methodist Christianity down there. If you ever find a little cul-de-sac with 4 houses, there'll be a Methodist church there as well. They love their Methodist chapels down there. What do you think about the relationship between the shapes of Arabic words and their meanings, such as طمع, where the ayn is empty? I'm not entirely sure what you mean, Akhi, but I think anything like that is amazing, is my opinion of it. And I also have read briefly in the past about some like Arabic language theories about different letters of the Arabic script having their own personalities. So, for example, the fa, usually in words with a fa, there'll be some kind of coming apart meaning in it. So, for example, obviously, fataha means to open something, some sort of coming apart. Like the word for an explosion, infijar, has a fa in it. Al-fajr, even the fajr is to do with something sort of coming apart or bursting. Al-fajr. Same as the word fatir. Fatir السماوات والأرض. The fatir is the one who kind of split them, brought them apart, or something like that. The different letters have their own personalities, which is pretty fascinating to me. And how asir and yasir is reflected in the difficulty in pronouncing the words. I'm not sure about that really, akhi. Can you tell us about the words which have two meanings, like jubn or jubna? Um, I'm not sure what that question means. You ever studied about Judaism and Christianity? So yeah, at college I have an A level in studies of religions, and we did world religions. So yeah, so I had to do whole modules on Buddhism, Hinduism, Judaism, Christianity. Do you think that the word father came from the Arabic word falter? I love the idea. I love the idea of it. I'm going to run with it, I think. The letter Ain should not be pronounced differently, whether it's beginning, middle, or end, to the best of my knowledge. Muhammad, it does absolutely make sense. Like Fatir actually really could make sense. Yeah. No, it does. It does. Like when Allah says, Alhamdulillahi fatir as-samawati wal-ard, it means the same as Alhamdulillahi khaliq as-samawati wal-ard. It means the same thing. Yeah, you're right. It does mean creator, but Muhammad saying like it sounds like father, father. You know, and it's the originator. Yeah, and that's what a father is, right? Which is fascinating. I'm on board with it. Omar, what you're saying about Earth being like Ard, I tell people that one a lot. Earth and Ard. Yeah, yeah. I have at the end of last Ramadan, I wanted to do this little playlist called Unpick Arabic, and we'd just do like a little thing in Arabic, like a little phrase or a little word or something, or Arabic root or something. Um, and one, I think my first one was the root letters fa, ta, and ra because of iftar and Eid al-Fitr as well. That's from the same root. Yeah, and when you do your iftar, obviously iftar really means breakfast, but it's when you're opening your fast. Um, yeah, the verb aftara literally means to have breakfast. Aftara, but yeah, but in Arabic, like in English, our word breakfast, because we don't have a culture of fasting in like an English tradition. The word breakfast doesn't double up as being when you break your fast. It just means when you get up in the morning and you eat. But in Arabic, it does double up. Iftar, your iftar is your breakfast as well as your um, yeah. Yeah, perhaps. Yeah, perhaps. Isa alayhi salam used the word fatir. Obviously, um, if he spoke Syriac or whatever, um, or Aramaic, then yeah, could it could be. Do you know what I mean? It could be. I remember like when I first came to Islam and I was sort of kind of into like doing dawah and stuff. I did really want to like learn Hebrew and then Syriac and like learn biblical Greek and stuff and like really go in. But yeah, it turned out I'm just not that interested in it. Yeah. None of you have asked about it, which is infuriating to me a little bit and makes me feel a little bit sick. But the Arabic in 60 Steps program 2.0 will be able to accept students from midnight tonight, inshallah. So, well, think of it as tomorrow. There's only a couple of things left for me to do, really. The domain name, I have the domain name arabic60steps.com, which we're going to be using for the new program. Because previously we've been doing Arabic with Sam.com/60, and that's kind of how I've led people to the program. But I bought the domain name arabic60steps.com. Alhamdulillah, it's still available. Do you know what I mean? Like, if someone had bought it, I'd be gutted. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've been running this program for like a year or whatever, and then if someone else bought that domain, I'd be gutted. My auntie, she bought Samba.com. That's my full name, Samba. Not samba, as in like the Brazilian dancing. As in it's Samba, spelled like B-U-R-R. I got that a lot when I was at school because we had a samba band, and everyone thought that I was in the samba band. So, my auntie owned Samba.com, but then got a few years and she just couldn't be bothered to keep on paying for it because I wasn't using it. Like, I'd definitely use that now. Like, I'd have a real use for that and it'd be really important. Sorry, yeah, I got distracted. Do you have any suggestions on the perfect pronunciation of the difficult letters? So with any letter in the Arabic language, it's when we learn pronunciation in English, I think that we think of it as just hearing it. But pronunciation is something physical in your mouth. Like, it is a science. The same way that you can perform something in the gym precisely. You can do a lift with precision. You can have good technique. It's the same with pronunciation in Arabic. You just need to learn the right makharij. You need to learn the right places where the sounds come out of your mouth. There's loads of images of them, like online, where you look up the makharij, the ways of pronouncing the different letters, and you follow that. Yeah, although even among like native Arabic speakers, I do notice some variety in it. Like for example, dad. With some native Arabic speakers, dad just becomes like a very heavy v instead of d. I like my dad to be a real dad, but some people say things like arv, even among native Arabic speakers, arv. But yeah, but you look up the makharij because there's actually like it's an actual science. It's not just kind of listening by ear and figuring it out. Like, it is actually a science. I had a question about the four plurals for the word see in Arabic. Are they interchangeable? Do they have nuanced meanings? With that one in particular, they mean the exact same thing. What are they? I only really hear abhur, but buhur, I'm sure is what sounds right to me. Buhur and abhur both sound right to me. Bihar, maybe. I know someone called Bihar, but I thought it was actually a Persian. I thought it was actually a Persian word for it. But yeah, but abhur, definitely. Just like shahr, ashhur. Oh, cool. Yeah, if you've heard it in a qasida, then that's right. Yeah, we are not people to argue with the shu'ara. Yeah, there's a brother saying, any males here who'd like to be friends with me to learn Arabic, asking questions, blah, blah, blah. The brother's offering to help you out. So scroll back a little bit if you need to. Yeah, that brother as well did me a big favour. Spoke to brother Faisal Chowdhury about getting me on that podcast as well, on Freshly Grounded. I'd love to go on Freshly Grounded. I don't know if they want me on there. I think they might not like me. or something. But because I've messaged Brother Faisal a few times, like we have some friends in common and stuff, and like I've spoken, like I don't have like a big audience. I'm not a big deal or anything. But like when I used to do my Somali channel, my Son of Somalia channel, like brothers like Imran ibn Mansour and his brother, and I met brother Nasir and stuff as well. And like I've met a lot of those brothers, and like there are people with smaller audiences than me who brother Faisal's had on his podcast before, but doesn't want your boy Sam on his podcast. Maybe he's a racist. I'm kidding. He's not a racist. I don't know if Faisal does work at Islam channel, bro. I think he works at Iman channel, which might be part of it. He might think that we're rivals because we work at rival TV channels. How old were you when you converted? I was 17, alhamdulillah. Okay, so does the word mata'im, by the way, mata'im is a plural of mat'am, meaning a restaurant. Does it take a kasra? So no, it is of the patterns that are mamnu' min as-sarf. In book 3, we go to town on the words that are mamnu' min as-sarf. We learn all the patterns for them. Yeah, and there are some exceptions when they would take a kasra. There are some exceptions, like, for example, I only thought about this recently when a brother on the YouTube channel actually pointed it out to me because I hadn't thought about it consciously before. But there are times when we'll have an elative, when we'll have a af'alu pattern. For example, at the end of Surah At-Tin, I believe, أَلَيْسَ اللَّهُ بِأَحْكَمِ. Normally the word ahkam would only be ahkama or ahkamu. It'd be mamnu' min as-sarf. But we have in this case, أَلَيْسَ اللَّهُ بِأَحْكَمِ الْحَاكِمِينَ. We actually do have a kasra on the end of it. So perhaps when it is, if it's majroor and it's a mudaf, then it can show a kasra. There's some really strange little exceptions like that. But as a rule, the word mata'im is mamnu' min as-sarf. It will never take tanween, and it will never take a kasra, just as a rule. Oh, you leave Muhammad alone, man. He's one of my students on the 60 Steps program. He can ask whatever he wants. You guys leave him alone. Yeah, yeah. Link up with each other, inshallah. If you can help each other out, then yeah. And also, brother Muhammad is in my good books, big time. Um, yeah, because he did a video testimonial for me for my program, so he's in my good books. Wa alaikum salam. Please make dua for this brother, brother Black John, because he's studying at Islamic University of Medina. You're on step 40 already, mashallah, tabarakallah. Yeah, mashallah, tabarakallah. Oh yeah, I have seen your message, by the way. Jazakallah khair for emailing me with that. The brother just sent a little, a little thing for me to edit in my book, which is fine. Lady Rain, wa alaykum al-hello wa rahmatullah. What came of it? Muhammad, what do you mean? Oh, mashallah, we have an Arab here who studies English literature. Have you studied Shakespeare, Dickens, Beowulf? Who else is there? MashaAllah. How many stories did you read in Arabic? And name some of them. So yeah, I mentioned some of the novels that I have some of them here actually. أعائد إلى حيفا by Ghassan Kanafani. We have رجال في الشمس, another one of Ghassan Kanafani. We have رحلة ibn Jubair. and then loads of qasas Joha, loads of those. Also, yeah. I mentioned a load of others as well, but oh yeah, the thing about the jumper. So I have this jumper that has a little logo and it says My Arabic World on it. Um, yeah, so that is a little venture that I'm working on, but at the moment I'm just focusing on making the Arabic in 60 Steps program the best thing I can possibly make it. But My Arabic World is going to be really cool. Um, yeah, it's going to be a way of experiencing immersion of the Arabic language without needing to travel to the Arab world. Not in like a virtual reality kind of way, but in a kind of manufactured experiencing of Arabic in real world scenarios through the power of the internet and video and stuff. That's kind of the brief outline. Oh, okay. So, okay, yeah, Muhammad, that's a really good question. So, can you say أكلوا الطلاب? I assume you're saying the students ate, right? You're not saying they ate the students. I assume that's how you're saying it. If you're saying أكلوا الطلاب, we've got another problem. But that's a really good question. Okay, so the rule with verb sentences is that at the beginning of the sentence, at the beginning of a verb sentence, you have to use a singular. That's just kind of the rule. Yeah, I know what you meant, but yeah, you do have to use a singular. Um, yeah, you have to use a singular. There is a time in my workbook when I don't obey that rule, because there is a grammatical discussion, I believe, between like the Basrans and the Kufans about whether you can. Because I think there is an example in the Quran when Allah even uses a plural verb at the beginning of a sentence. But yeah, so I drop one in there. But the rule that we teach, and you'll never go wrong if you don't do that. What do we got? What came before Quran or the Torah? What came before the Torah? What existed before the Quran? I believe in Lawh Mahfuz. Can you tell us your opinion about Ghassan Kanafani's novel? Which one? Rijal fi Shams or A'id ila Haifa? Both of them beautiful. And really sad, actually. Beautiful as an Arabic student because you learn so much from them, but really sad. A'id ila Haifa. Should we do a little walkthrough of it together? We can read the blurb together if you want. Or I can do a little summary of it for you. Maybe, oh, it's in front of me. So, yeah, I'm just rolling my eyes over it. So the blurb, of Rijal fi Shams. Yeah, let's have a look at it then. Yeah, Rijal fi Shams. I'm just running my eyes over the blurb. So yeah, it's about some people who want to they want to leave Palestine. They've all got their own reasons. There's like three people I believe who kind of have their own reasons why they want to leave. I think they want to go to Kuwait. I think they want to go to Basra or Kuwait or something like that. Yeah, and they each kind of have their own reasons for being smuggled. Like they want to go to work or they want to send money home or whatever. And yeah, and that they all die because yeah, because when they're kind of being smuggled, the three guys are left inside this kind of oil tanker for too long. It's like an empty oil tanker that obviously being smuggled through the desert, so it's like scalding hot. And yeah, and there's these three guys who are hiding in there being smuggled, and they just take a little bit too long at the checkpoint, and all three of them die. But the message of it, the message that Ghassan Kanafani is conveying in it is don't leave Palestine. That's what he's saying. Yeah, yeah, it means don't leave Palestine. That's why. The other one, عائد إلى حيفا. قصة رائعة جدا عن معاناة الشعب الفلسطيني. So it's a very great story about the suffering of الشعب الفلسطيني, about the Palestinian people. تتكلم عن عائلة من حيفا فقدت ابنها في عام 1948. So yeah, it talks about a family from Haifa that leave their child in the year 1948. عندما هجروا رغم عنهم ولكنهم تركوا ابنهم مرغمين حيث أخذتهم الزوارق إلى عكا عن طريق البحر. Okay, yeah, so they're kind of forced. They don't want to. They're مرغمين. Yeah, they don't want to leave, but they have to leave, and they leave their child. They leave their child there, and they go. Yeah, they go on like a ship to Akka. Yeah, تحت الرصاص والصواريخ, under kind of the bullets and the rockets. Yeah, so they try. فحاولوا العودة لأخذ الابن, ولكن جميع المحاولات yeah باءت بالفشل. All of the attempts they result in failure. Yeah, after yeah وبعد 20 سنة رجعت العائلة. Yeah, so the family come back after 20 years, and they find their child being raised by an عائلة يهودية. They find their child being raised by like a Jewish family who are from Poland. You know, and then that's like a Jewish family from Poland who kind of took that house after they were expelled from their home. Yeah, and their child is now a yeah, فأصبح يهوديا. The child became a Jew. Yeah, يذهب للكنيس. So he's like a practicing Jew, right? Like he goes to the you know, he goes to the synagogue. Here's a good little verb actually. وانتسب إلى الجيش الدفاع. So yeah, the verb انتسب إلى means to kind of be enrolled into. This verb here. انتسب إلى is like to be yeah, to be. Is that what you say with the military when you like enroll in a course? No, you don't really enroll in the military. What's the term I'm looking for? But then you learn the term جيش الدفاع الصهيوني, the kind of we call it the IDF, don't we? The Israeli Defense Force or something like that. But that's what it's talking about. جيش الدفاع الصهيوني. صهيوني is the word for Zionist. That's right there. صهيوني. Oh, and yeah, okay. And his brother is part of Hamas. So they've got one child who yeah, they've got one child who they had to leave behind, who's now a soldier in the Israeli Defense Force, and they've got another child who is actually a member of Hamas now. Yeah, so that's the crux of it. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, we've had some native speakers rock up, and I've been Yeah, I've just been talking through the blurb of this. I might do a walkthrough of it maybe. If I have done like a little bit of it before, I think somewhere. It might not even been on this channel, but I think I've done something like that. But that's what this is about. That's what this book's about. And then the other book, Rihlat ibn Jubayr. That one is so Ibn Jubayr, like Ibn Battuta, is sort of like one of the earliest rock stars, really. They kind of have this rock star life where they kind of travel around the world and have a lot of wives and stuff. Ibn Battuta especially was a big ladies' man. He was a bit of a rock star, really, Ibn Battuta. Ibn Jubayr, not so much. But Ibn Jubayr actually meets Salahuddin al-Ayyubi, which is something so fascinating about his work, and he describes really accurately the Crusaders, as-Salibiyin. He describes them really accurately and their different groups and when they came and stuff like that, and how they behaved and all that kind of stuff. It's really fascinating. In fact, when I was in Palestine, I wrote my Mashru' Takharruj, my dissertation on Wasf al-Nasara fi Rihlat ibn Jubayr. Yeah, the description of the Christians. Wasf al-Nasara. So how do you actually start reading Arabic books? So the way that I started was I would sit with a book and the Hanswehr dictionary, and I would have to look up every other word. There are two words for Christian. Yeah, no, there's Masihiyun, right, and Nasara. But yeah, Masih and Nasrani. Nasara is the plural, isn't it? But Nasrani is the singular. But yeah, Masih. But in Rihlat ibn Jubayr, there's the term Ifrinj as well, even used for like, it means like the Frankish, Ifrinj. But and then as-Salibiyin is there's even a term for like Middle Eastern Christians as well. There's a term for like Middle Eastern Christians, like al-Mashariqa or something like that. Al-Mashariqa. So why is pens and books in the sentence, I have pens in my bag, marfu' instead of mansub? The same sentence in Arabic. So, if I've understood that question correctly, Muhammad, it might be something that I raised in this week's episode of Grammar Time. Who watched this week's episode of Grammar Time? Who saw me solve the Rubik's Cube in like 30 seconds? I was proud of that. So, what it is that in that sentence you would expect, when you say, I have books and pens, I have pens and books, in English when we say that, pens and books are the object of the sentence. Right, that's the object of the sentence, because have is a verb. But in Arabic, have is not a verb. You say indi. So if you were to say I have, if you were using the word ind, in that case you're likely to say ma'a. But if you were to say ma'i aqlamun wa kutubun, I have books and pens. It's not the object of any verb. Do you know what I mean? There's no reason for it to be mansub because it's not a maf'ulun bihi. It's not an object of any verb. Yeah, but that catches people out a lot of the time. It catches people out because obviously in English it's a verb. In Arabic there are verbs to say have. There is the verb melaka and imtelaka, but they're just nowhere near as common as like li and ma and ind and laday. Nowhere near as common as those. My coffee's gonna be cold now. I'm gonna push through it. Advice to learn sarf. Advice specifically for learning sarf. I'm going to put my finger on here. So, yeah, you could say li abi or you could say ind abi. You could say either. I find some difficulties in reading classic English novels like 18th century. Yeah, me too. Me too. Join the club. Honestly, if I didn't study English literature, I wouldn't understand Shakespeare. I know Shakespeare's a little bit earlier than that, but like I wouldn't understand it. Oh, sorry, that's my mum just texting me. Yeah, you could say, yeah. But you couldn't say ma. You couldn't say ma Abi Bakr. Um, but you can say عند أبي بكر or لدي أبي بكر. Yeah, they both make sense. Which Arabic dictionaries show the gender of the nouns? Hans Ver does, I'm sure. I am a native English speaker, and I would not understand a lot of Shakespeare if, if I hadn't studied English literature. I studied English literature at college, so like I do understand Shakespeare, and I can read Beowulf and Old English and stuff. But at the beginning of the course, I'd pick it up and I wouldn't understand it. Oh, I'm really sorry. I got distracted, didn't I, about advice for sarf. I wish I did have a really good sort of quick answer for that. I suppose it would, just speaking from my perspective, it would help me to group words that are of the same sarf. So, get groups of words that are all kind of on the same pattern, on the same morphology. That would help me. Maybe make little flashcards with like 20 words for each kind of pattern or whatever. Where were you born? I was born just down the road, Northampton General Hospital. That's where I was born. Yeah, so that works. That rule works most of the time with li for family, and also like yeah, for family and friends also as well, and body parts and stuff you can use li for. Yeah, and the ind and لدي tend to be for temporary things. That'll serve you a lot of the time. That'll serve you a lot of the time, I think. It's a good rule. But yeah, not always though. Like you can use li for things that aren't permanent, like friends. Do you know what I mean? Do I have any broadcasts geared towards beginners? So yeah, I try. Like honestly, like I just turn up here to help however I can, and sometimes the audience are a bit more advanced. Sometimes they're not so much. But bro, if there's anything in particular as a beginner that you want me to help you with, then message me, inshallah. DM me on Instagram or email me, arabicwithsam@gmail.com. Can you explain what does eloquency mean for Arabic? So, like eloquent in Arabic is for something to be fasih. Actually, fusha really just means the eloquence, the eloquent one. Yeah, and hands are feminine. Body parts that come in pairs are usually feminine. Hands, ears, eyes. Does Egyptian dialect have grammatical structure? Yes, it does. Yeah, yes, it does. It does have grammar. Yeah, it does have grammar. But it's just completely different. Like Egyptian lehge, you can pretty much get away without using any fi'l. You can get away without using verbs pretty much. Like instead of saying something like, أنا أسكن في المدينة, like I live in the city, you could just say أنا ساكن في المدينة. Rather than conjugating a verb, you just say the fa'il. And you can do that in, rather than saying like, although they don't say أذهب in, rather than saying أذهب, you just say أنا ذاهب, like I am a goer. Do you know what I mean? اليدان الكبيرتان, yeah, because it's feminine, yeah. Could you go through some GCSE past papers? That's not really my thing, but I'm probably not going to do a writing one for you. Yeah, sorry, man. I'm probably not going to do a writing one for you. Yeah, because they're so boring. Sometimes you don't read because you're scared of getting the harakat wrong. Yeah, my whole second year at university was spent hiding in lectures, worrying that my professor would ask me to read passages in Arabic without any harakat in, and me have to just guess them and make them up as I go along. That happened a lot. That constituted a lot of my hours in lectures. But don't worry about it. once you know the rules, you know the grammar, it will fall into place anyway, inshallah. It needs to be there needs to be a progression into that anyway, which is why on my program deliberately in the first book there's all of the harakat, in the second book all of the harakat. It's only by book 3 that we start to ease the harakat away. How do you command in the negative third person? So the positive, well, that's not a fi'l amr. That's a fi'l mudari' with lam al-amr. ليكتب, ليكتب, and you can use that for the first person as well. If you're, لنكتب, let's write. لنبدأ, let's begin. لنتكلم, let's speak. You can use that in the third person, but that's a lam al-amr. It's not, well, there isn't a way of doing a fi'l amr. So the negative is just using la and then use a jazm. So yeah, like let's not write, la naktub. I assume. Muhammad, ya salam. The questions are finished, subhanallah. Which books have harakat? My book 1 and book 2 both have harakat. So right. The concept of ism mawsula, al-asma al-mawsula. Okay, so there's the asma al-mawsula, there's ma al-mawsula as well, unfortunately. Yeah, but like relative clauses, like that, actually relative clauses in general, or just using the asma al-mawsula? Yeah, book 3's answers will be out there soon. Yeah, that will be done soon, as is book 4. Book 4 is in the process of being uploaded at the moment. So book 4 and book 4's answers and book 3's answers. But yeah, so the clauses, yeah, so relative clauses are of different, there are 4 different kinds. It matters whether the noun you're referring to is yeah, that deserves a whole video for itself. If you're on my program, there's a whole lesson on that for book 3. It might be lesson 38 or something like that on relative clauses, because I go through all four of the different kinds of them. But if not, maybe I'll take a little section of it and I'll put it on YouTube for you, maybe, if it's okay with the guys in there. Okay, Muhammad has a question. Can you elaborate more on the monthly £50 incentive for the upgraded course, and what kinds of things are things you are looking for the award toward the incentive? So, okay, so on the new Arabic in 60 Steps program, we have a Facebook group for all of the students, which I monitor, and the other mentors who I employ as well will be monitoring it as well. And I'll be answering questions, doing a live Q&A, and also just for participation and students engaging a lot with the course. Every month I'm going to just do a £50 prize, just to give a student who's taking part and really progressing. I'll speak to the mentors about that, because obviously I'm going to have sort of 4 or 5 mentors who, when the student joins the program, they'll be assigned a mentor. It might be myself in rare cases, but most of the time it'll be one of the guys or one of the sisters that I'll employ. And I'll speak to them about it as well, like what students have been speaking to every week, what students have had good questions, what students have been engaging with the program, what students are helping other students in the Facebook group and stuff too. So there's a whole load of different things. Do you know what I mean? There's a whole load of different things. It won't be likely that I'll give it to the same student 2 months in a row. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, and also like I really want to give more back to students. Do you know what I mean? Like I even want to have kind of milestones, like when we get to 50 students on the 60 Steps program, like I want to pay for one of the students to like go to Egypt for a month or something. Like I'd love to do stuff like that. That will have a milestone where, when 50 students join, I'll pay for one of the students in the group to study Arabic in Egypt for a month. When we get to like 1,000 students on the 60 Steps program, we'll sponsor 10 students in the program to, to study at Qasid for a month in Jordan or something. Like I'd love to, any income that comes in and that's left over, like I'd love to just use that to give back to the students and just have incentives for people to study more. I'd love to do stuff like that, yeah. So we'll always be working on stuff like that, inshallah. Yeah. Ouch. Okay. See what else we got. Right, I've only got 15% battery. We've been here for over an hour. Ya Rob. We should wrap this up, guys. We should wrap it up. I've been here for a whole hour. Subhanallah. Stories with harakat. Stories of the prophets. Qasasun Nabiyyin. There's a really nice little book. Qasasun Nabiyyin. I have a free course, by the way. I'm on it. If you go onto my YouTube channel, like main page, there's a little free course button. There's a free course on reading the story of Yusuf alayhi salam. Yeah, little free 6-step course. You can get a little sneak peek inside. Yeah, so that book's really good. You get it on Amazon for like £8 as well for the whole book. Yeah. Yeah, Qasasun Nabiyyin is good. It's a really good companion for my course up to like the end of book 2, I'd say. Lady Rain, نعم تفضلي. بارك الله فيك. بارك الله فيك. I'll put some of my books back, tidy up after myself. Why don't you shave your beard? Is it a religious thing? Yeah. If it wasn't for Islam, I'd probably be, all sorts of stuff. Shaving my beard would probably be one of them, if it wasn't for Islam. So yeah. Muhammad and Omar, man, yeah, you're absolutely right. The real answer is the resources should have been in the resources library weeks ago. Give me until the end of this week, inshallah. Inshallah, by the end of this week, it'll all be done. It'll all be done. Book 3 and 4 answers will be done, and also I'll have prints of book 3 and book 4 to send out to you guys as well by the end of the week. I've got my print guys on it, so yeah, give me to the end of the week, inshallah. And please just accept my apologies, and please forgive me for any delay and that stuff. Because I'm not asking you to to excuse me for it entirely, but just from my perspective, like I don't have employees. You know what I mean? Like I pretty much put out content every single day, and I've written 4 books, and I've got a 20-hour to 30-hour video course with about 100 bonus resources that I've done all by myself. And that's I before I started, I could never have imagined what work and what sacrifices I'd need to make for that. So yeah, I probably wouldn't have. If it was about efficiency and about money or something, I would not have done a program as vast as what I've done. I'd have probably done like a little crash poetry course, and I'd have charged the same amount. I'd have done something way smaller, because it's easy to do that. Do you know what I mean? But that's not what it's about. It's about, it's about serving. It's about serving the students who want to learn Arabic. So, but yeah, but don't worry about it. Inshallah, in the next few days, the answers for book 3 and for book 4 will be in the resources library. Inshallah. What else you got? You don't have to shave your beard, but you are free. I mean, I'm not sure if you mean you don't have to grow your beard. In Islam, you do. It's wajib. It's wajib for the men to leave their beards to grow. It's not an act of kufr to shave your beard, but it is haram. Yeah, Omar, I 100% understand, Akhi. Yeah, and inshallah, this week it'll be in there. What would be your advice on becoming an Arabic teacher? Um, so the only thing that really matters to me, and that I just make sure of every day when I turn on the camera and every day when I turn up at my desk, is just that I'm thinking about the students and not myself. Your Arabic doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to be a scholar of Arabic. Do you know what I mean? And if anything, I think among the teachers we should have people who have different levels, because I can tell you there are a lot of students out there who learn more from me than what they could someone who's a graduate from some big university and they've got a PhD in Lugha. Like, because it's just more like I'm just more relatable to a lot of students. Do you know what I mean? Like, so like someone like yourself, whatever level you're at, whatever level you're at, there are thousands, if not tens of thousands of students out there who can benefit so much from what your level of knowledge is. And wherever you're at, you can word things in a way, and you can put lessons in a way that resonate with people who are a closer level to you than you are. So just start giving. Just start giving. In terms of actually making a living, it'll be rough. It'll be rough for a long time. If you're independent like myself, it'll be really rough and you'll struggle. I've got some really, really rough stories. I won't share them now, maybe another time. But if you have a structure where you can get like a full-time job as like a GCSE Arabic teacher or something, then you have a bit of stability, inshallah. But the only thing that really matters is that when you turn up, you care. Yeah, that's really good, mashallah. That's really good. Like when you get to like just a basic level of competence in Arabic, you're at a stage where I think you should be giving back, and you should be teaching people who are behind you. Because if you imagine like a pyramid of all the Arabic students in the world, like the bottom of that pyramid of complete beginners is so big. Do you know what I mean? And it doesn't even it's not even just like a normal pyramid that sort of does that. It's like really wide and then sort of goes up like this, the pyramid, right? Like it's such few people at the top who are doing like balagha and الشعر من الجاهلية. It's such a small amount of people at the top who are doing that. Do you know what I mean? But like the bottom of the pyramid is so big. There's so many people at the very beginning who just need a teacher to turn around to them and just give them a bit of a grounding on what resources to use and how to progress and what kind of mindset to have. So I absolutely encourage people who want to be Arabic teachers just to start giving, to start teaching and giving in whatever way they can. Eiffel Tower, yeah, it's that kind of thing. Yeah, it's not a pyramid, it's an Eiffel Tower. You're absolutely right. Yeah, آمين آمين أخي آمين يا أخي. And if you ever wanted to be a mentor on my Arabic in 60 Steps program, email me, Arabic in 60, Arabic with Sam at gmail.com. If you wanted to be a mentor for the beginners on that program, then let me know. Because if I ever have the means to, like, I would really like to support Arabic teachers. Do you know what I mean? Like, I didn't really have anyone who kind of allowed me to sort of support myself, my family financially when I was like in the beginning trying like putting out lessons for free and stuff, going to people's houses and teaching their kids constantly. Like I never really, you know what I mean? It would have made it so much easier for me to give more if there'd have just been something that I could earn like a living from. Do you know what I mean? So if there are teachers like that out there, then I would like to be able to provide that. I'd like to support Arabic teachers out there because man, do we need them? Like like honestly, we need good Arabic teachers. We have such a hunger for it. But so many people out there don't want to provide or support our teachers. Do you know what I mean? You've got people like half the people out there, like they'll spend £50 a month on coffees at Starbucks, but they're not willing to pay a tenner to an Arabic teacher. Do you know what I mean? Like it boggles the mind. It baffles me. That does. That there's even a resentment towards people who want to earn money from it, who want to be able to provide for their families and stuff. So inshallah, if I can ever step in there and have something in place and I can employ other Arabic teachers and treat them well, then like, I really want to do that, inshallah. So if you want to be one of the mentors on the new program, then let me know. Um, yeah. Can you tell more about your program, please? So we will maybe end on this, inshallah. Oh, good question from Iqbal has come in, mashallah. Um, yeah, so there are a number of the students on the Arabic in 60 Steps program who I would like to be mentors for future students, inshallah. We'll have like alumni, we'll have like graduates of that program who come back and be mentors. There was a question about whether it's obligatory to learn Arabic. Allah knows best. Allah knows best about that. Um, Allah knows best about that. Yeah, I don't want to give a fard or wajib or mustahab or sunnah or mubah. I don't want to give any of that, really. But yeah, no, yeah, fatawa with Sam, fatwas with Sam. Um, let me read this idea. I mean, okay, so I have some word idea. I thought I want to set up a website services where people can teach languages, but Arabic would be free. So to learn Chinese, you'd have to pay, but Arabic is free. So there are tons of free resources, right? There are tons of free resources. I put them out every day. Do you know what I mean? There are a lot of free resources. But I've found that you can't help people who aren't prepared to pay a little bit a lot of the time. You have some exceptions with people who are incredibly dedicated, you know, they're incredibly dedicated to learning Arabic, even if they don't have to sacrifice any money for it. But in my experience, in my experience with 90% of students, really for them to be invested in their course, they have to pay something for it. Sometimes even if the price is so small that it's negligible, students often don't even care about it after a few months. Like that's me, which is really strange. That goes against everything that I ever thought. Like I've always, when I first started teaching Arabic, I used to go to people's houses and teach like a number of kids. And I used to charge £12.50 an hour to go to their house. Like that's like, if you consider like I drive a car, do you know what I mean? And there's travel time. I'm on like less than minimum wage. And I always thought that was a good thing. I always had it in my head that was a really good thing. And like I want to turn up here and like answer people's questions for free and even put out courses for free and stuff. And like I'm of a disposition to want to do that. But I found worse results from students than when I charged them more. It's really strange. It's really strange. I'm always trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure out what the right balance is because, you know, um, yeah. So free stuff often lacks quality. So it doesn't have to. Do you know what I mean? Like you, in theory, you could have. Um, you know, that like, yeah, yeah. I think just as long as the teacher is just sincere, do you know what I mean? Like I have no doubt that the students will see right through it if you're like, I've always, let me try to figure out the right words to come out of my face right now. I've always been really defensive and really wanted to make sure people don't feel like I'm taking people for granted. But if I was really like a really financially driven person, I would not be in this industry. Do you think I'll be spending my Sunday evening taking hours away from my family to come here for an hour and a half for free, for nothing, and then go back to my wife with nothing? Like, I don't think many people know how that feels to do stuff for free for years and go back to your wife and children with nothing. So, and then for the students to perform worse because of it as well. It's really strange. Whereas, like, if you actually command a bit of value, like financially, your students tend to be a lot more invested as well. Um, just make dua for me, innit? Just make dua for me. I'll make dua for you guys that that Allah provides for us all, and that we're all right, inshallah, and that we're all satisfied, and that we all achieve our goals in learning the Arabic language, and that Allah make us among the people who have a meaningful and deep relationship with each other and with the Quran. Yeah. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. But so that's obviously, yeah. Um, you should help people without expecting something in return, right? That's really good, right? That's obviously really good. Um, but what when you find like, because I've found sometimes I'm charging, but not even for me. Like I'm like my program now, the Arabic in 60 Steps program, is more expensive now. But a lot of that's not even for me. Like a lot of that's because I want serious students. And also, I want to be able to pay mentors. I want to provide something really good, and it costs a lot of money to launch and run these programs and stuff too. But so it's not. It's almost not even about me getting something in exchange. Like I've done courses in the past that I've paid a lot of money for, like online courses that I've paid a lot of money for, and I've found that when I've paid a lot of money for them, I value them more. It's the same information, but it's almost like a it's almost like a teaching tool that the course uses, that they charge you a lot for it. Seems really strange to me. But, so long as we're sincere and so long as we're not trying to make things difficult for people and stuff, inshallah, then that's the most important thing. Yeah. Yeah. We don't need to talk about the money and stuff, inshallah. It's a bit, it's not really nice for us to end our conversation talking about the money and that, but so inshallah, inshallah, I hope that you guys ask that Allah make me sincere. Well, yeah, exactly, yeah. It's not. I don't need to sit here and try to justify myself in it. So we'll call it a day there, inshallah. I think that is pretty much all the questions that we had. There's something wrong, even, isn't there? There's something wrong with wanting to even sit here and justify it. Like if you put out good stuff, call it a day. We'll call it a day. Yeah. It's all good, inshallah. It's all good. If there's anything else I can help you guys with, stick it in the comments, inshallah, when this video is done. DM me on Instagram, email me. I can't promise I'll be able to get back really quickly at the moment because I'm running an entire course by myself. but when it's all launched and everything's back up and stuff, inshallah. Yeah. Yeah, cool. Get in touch with me, inshallah, if there's anything else I can help you with. We'd best call it a day here. I need to go to bed. I can't even go to bed yet. So I still have to do a couple of things to sort out for the new program. But you guys take it easy. Good night, and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.